Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hope all is well. I hope everybody got a good night of sleep. Hope everybody's day is starting out well. Of course, as always, definitely don't want you to have a bad day. I was gonna do this on a Put It Out There TV Facebook page, but I figured I could always do it on here, download it and upload it there. I think I may get a little bit more interaction here first on my personal page. So we're gonna be talking about the Cuties movie. So if you aren't familiar, Cuties is the movie that everybody is in an uproar about. It's supposed to be a movie that's pro pedophilia, pro child sexualization, and this is what a majority of people are alleging. This is what I'm seeing, and people are focusing on that so much that it caused me to go watch the movie. And it's because I'm to the point to where I'm sick of the internet. I'm sick of, just because, people put stuff out on the internet, it becomes fact. And come to find out, the movie was made by a sister from Africa, I believe. Give me a second. We're going to look this up. Because I'm familiar with the movie, but I ain't familiar with the sister that made that made the movie, because I watched the movie. So we'll go on. So as you can see, you got the young lady in the photo here, the dark-skinned young lady next to the European young lady, little so-called white girl. The story is about the girl with the bag in her hand with the polka dots. In the movie, her name is Aminata. All right, her name is Aminata. And basically, Aminata is from a so-called African family. I believe she's Sudanese or Senegalese. I get it mixed up, either Sudanese or Senegalese. And in her culture, they are Muslims, devout Muslims. All right. Now, when the movie starts out, I believe, if I remember correctly, it starts out with the young lady, Aminata, the little sister there in the middle. And she's going to school. And what happens is she's seeing these girls, some of the young ladies in the image with her, and she's seeing them dressed provocatively. She's seeing them having fun. This I don't give a fuck type attitude. And these are little girls, and with her coming up in a house with morals and principles and things like this attracts her. This type of thing attracts little girls. When they come up in a household to where, they're locked off from doing certain things, they can't do this, they can't stay the night, they can't go to parties, they can't do this. When they start seeing other young ladies expressing a freedom that they don't have, it's attractive to them, right? And this is what you can see the young lady Aminata going through. You can see that she's seeing these young ladies at school. They're dressing like teenagers when they're not teenagers. They got this I don't give a fuck attitude. They're cussing, they're dancing, whatever the case. So this attracts her. And it goes to another scene to where she's helping her uncle move some stuff out of a van. And she gets this bag for him. He needs this bag, and she hands him the bag. But while she's handing him the bag, she steals his cell phone. All right. So the cell phone is what starts her journey onto social media. So these same little girls that she's seeing at school that got this I don't give a fuck attitude, they dress and fly, they seem older than what they are, they seem free, all this stuff that's attractive to her. She's seeing these same young ladies on social media, I guess it's like a movie form of Instagram. So she's seeing these young ladies on Instagram, taking all these different photos, whether it's provocative or whether it's not, just really being free, being themselves. And so she's liking that. So that's something else that's attracting her even more. Now, at the same time, while she's going through this stage of where she's trying to find herself, right? She finds out that her father is getting ready to take on a second wife. Because again, like I said, she's been raised up in Islam. So she finds out that her father is getting ready to take on a second wife. And this is like really bothering her because it obviously bothers her mother. Her mother is hurt by this. Her mother is hurt by the fact that her husband is bringing in another wife, which most likely means more children. So she's seeing her mother go through these changes while she's going through her changes at the same time, trying to figure out who she is. So eventually, she ends up getting an opportunity to meet these girls. And of course, they start bullying her a little bit. But one girl is her friend, and I can't remember her name, but it's a young lady who lived in the same apartment building as her, who wore glasses. She was like the leader of the crew of the cool girls, right? And she wasn't with the bullying. Out of all the girls in the group, she wasn't with the bullying. So her and the girl get to kind of hanging out together. And the little girl that's a little faster, dressed fast, got that I don't give a fuck attitude, a little bit more freedom, she starts hanging out with her and starts, kind of turning her out to this I don't give a fuck attitude, this freedom, this, this type of thing, being a little faster than what she should be, not saying anything sex with guys or anything. She's just being a little faster than what she should be. And while Aminata is going through this process, she's becoming friends with these girls, and these little girls that were bullying her that she's becoming friends with, they already had a dance group, like those dance groups you see today with young little girls, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, kind of dressed provocatively, doing a, semi-soft, provocative dancing. They were already in one of those, they were already in a dance group. So she's learning how to dance, watching YouTube videos, things of this nature. So eventually, after watching all these YouTube videos on the phone she stole from her uncle, she eventually learns how to dance, get some dancing skills. So she gets a chance to exhibit this to these girls. So these girls put her down with the crew like, oh, damn, she can actually dance. So they put Aminata, little girl in the middle right here with the blue bag and the orange bag with the polka dots. They put her down with the crew, so they got their friends and then they got a dance crew. But at the same time, Aminata is looking at them and still realizing that she's still not up to par with the group. So she starts dressing a little faster, putting on makeup, things of this nature. Now, I believe she's only 11 or 12, but these are things that little girls go through. So she's putting on makeup, dressing a little faster, things of this nature, getting more accepted into the group. Now, while these girls are hanging out with each other and they're doing their thing on their little spare, their spare time, and they're hanging out, they're training and dancing. They're watching boys on the internet, learning how to dance provocatively, things that little girls are most likely, unfortunately, there's nothing we could do. That's what they're doing today. If they have a cell phone and there's a group of little girls that's friends, they got boys that they think that are cute on the phone, things of this nature. They got all of that, right? So basically, Aminata, after hanging with these girls, she gets kind of turned out as far as how her behavior. She gets disrespectful to her mom. She's gotten a little faster. She's stealing money, things of this nature. Now, while she's going through this process, her grandmother, who is also a devout Muslim woman, is seeing her granddaughter fighting this vibration that she's dealing with. She's seeing her fighting the higher self and the lower self. Because now she's in a position to where it's either I accept my culture, my traditions that I have been raised upon, or I go out here and I be fast as fuck. So she's battling that, right? So she gets so bad at disrespecting her parents or grandparents that one day they bring her into the house and they do an old Sudanese or Senegalese ritual. So they have her in there and it looks like she's twerking, but it's like they have her going through this ritual to where she's dancing out that twerking spirit, getting that evil spirit out of her body, right? So they clean her up. They did a form of baptismal. They clean her up, a form of, how do you want to say, exorcism. They did an African ritual that was a form of exorcism, cleaned that little girl up. So fast forward, as time goes on, there's a dance competition getting ready to come up. And by this time, the little girls aren't friends with Aminata anymore. Because, she's gotten so turned out, she's gotten so juiced, so high off of being accepted and liked by everybody that she goes out one day and she does some shit. She takes a picture of her vagina and she uploads it on Instagram. And her main reason for doing it was the fact that she was tired of her and her friends, who were only 11 or 12 years old, being called little girls. So she's like, what do y'all want me to do? She's like, aren't y'all tired of being called little girls? And the little girls was like, that's all cool and everything, but now you're making us look like whores. And since we're your friends, since you look like a whore and we're your friends now, we look like whores. So the little girls is like, we can't hang with you anymore. It really goes to show you that people didn't really watch this movie. So the little girls was like, we can't hang with you anymore. So Aminata's, she's messed up because these are the first set of friends that she had that really accepted her, or whatever the case may be. So, she's dealing with separation anxiety. So the date of the dance contest comes up, and one of the girls who were original members of the dance team, she caught her slip and pushed her in a river so she could take her place. So Aminata goes to the dance contest. She gets up there. They're dancing very provocatively, let me tell you. And as a man who has a 13-year-old daughter who's been raising her since she was 7 months old, it made me very uncomfortable to see that. But the thing is, that's the reality. That's what these people are doing at these shows. They're catching provocative camera angles of these children in these provocative clothes, right? But anyway, so Aminata's on stage dancing provocatively and all this stuff. And out of nowhere, she starts to hear the tribal music, the music that's tribal to her people. She starts to hear that inside. And all of a sudden, she breaks down on the stage and then she runs off. Then she goes back home and the movie ends with her being a little girl again, dressed like a little girl, being herself. So the message of the movie, outside of what people were seeing, is very positive. It's a very positive movie. It shows the struggle that little girls go through as they're going through puberty, trying to find themselves, trying to be accepted, start being fast, doing what they see in the world. And then she comes back to her senses and she goes back to being a little girl again. So it's a very great movie. I enjoyed it. I watched it by myself. I wanted to watch it with my daughter, but I didn't get a chance to. So I'm going to watch it with her again because there's certain parallels in the movie that as a father, I can see with my daughter. So some of the same things that I see the little girl Aminata going through on the movie Cuties, I see my daughter going through the same thing. I get her phone. I see what's going on TikTok and on Instagram and on the things that these little girls are doing on this movie. It's happening in the real world today. So the movie is not based on anything that's pro pedophilia whatsoever at all. Now, there's probably going to be some content in there that a pedophilia will get his rocks off on. But that's not what the movie is about. The movie is about a little girl trying not to be a little girl and going back to being a little girl, period. Being too fast, accepting her culture, her norms, her traditions. That's what it's about at the end of the day. And there's been plenty of movies like that. So I don't see why this particular movie is an issue. And there's been plenty of movies with that same premise, whether it's Hoop Dreams, with Leonardo DiCaprio, whether it's the movie Dirk Diggler with Mark Wahlberg. These are the things that are happening in the world today. So I can appreciate the movie, and I'm going to sit down and watch it with my daughter to show her that she's not the only one that's going through these things. And at the end of the day, the message in the movie is to be yourself, to thine own self, be true. Don't give up your culture, your ways, your heritage, your traditions for the ways of the world, the wild ways of the world. And you know what? Your Bible says that. Your Quran says that. All these religious books already said it. So if you find yourself being a devout religious person or spiritual, whatever the case may be, this movie has a message that's saying to thine own self, be true. It's just as simple as that. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Hopefully this movie has changed the outlook that some of y'all may have. I really suggest that you watch it because what happens is you have a bunch of adults on here on social media. I've caught several of them in lies. They don't know Aminata's name. They say they watched the movie. They don't know Aminata's name. They don't know her little brother's name, right? They don't know there's just little things in the movie that I asked people who were making all this hoopla online, and a lot of them are a bunch of grown ass liars who did not watch the movie whatsoever at all. And those liars are the ones that caused me to go watch this movie. And the message that people are trying to portray about this movie, it is a lie. It is a lie. Watch the movie, people. Trust me. It's a very positive movie. I like it. I very much so like the movie. I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. Y'all have yourselves a great day. Make sure you shoot over to the Put It Out There TV Facebook page. Give us a follow. And I appreciate you rocking with me. I'm up out of here. Peace and love. One.